Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on another I have been up since before midnight video. Today we are going to talk about cover copy, and it's going to be a really short video because I can't write cover copy. That's it, period, the end. Just kidding. If you are one of those special people touched by the stars themselves and blessed with the gift of writing good cover copy, have everyone around you bow down to your brilliance right now, because the rest of us mere mortals are still trying to figure out, is there a difference between cover copy and blurb? So that's where we're going to start this conversation today. If you are a new writer or an old writer, new to publishing, you are going to hear the term blurb used quite a lot. Now, I am not an expert, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you already know this. But what I do know is most writers use the term blurb to describe everything from cover copy to one-liners to actually having somebody noteworthy write a few sentences of recommendation for your book. So what I am talking about when I use the term cover copy is this right here. This is what readers picking up a physical copy of your book will use as a starting point to see if your book is something that they want to read. Now, again, in today's world, this is usually also referred to as a blurb, and it's pretty acceptable to use the terms interchangeably. We see this a lot in the industry these days. And I did talk about this a little bit in a different video when I covered the difference between a set and a series. And basically, there isn't an option on retailers to mark a collection of books as a set. So for that reason, for marketing and having your books connected on retailers, pretty much widely it is accepted that everything is marked as a series, even if the book collection that you have doesn't fit the true definition of what a series is. Our job is just to make sure that readers understand what they are buying when they purchase our books, which is why cover copy / blurbs are so very important. This is literally the way readers figure out if they want to read your book or not. Now, because I am so bad at writing these book descriptions, I have started downloading samples to any book. There's anything even remotely appealing in the book description. So trust me when I say that the purpose of this video is not to teach you how to write good book descriptions. I'm not even going to give you tips on it outside of this one. Hire a good editor. I've given my editors 1 good blurb out of 5, and they currently have a 6th that I'm not holding out much hope for. Each time they take it in stride, let me know that I botched it, and then they fix it. And I would love to be able to sit here and tell you that every time this happens, I learn something and I'm better at the next one. But these I have such a mental block on, it just simply isn't the case. It doesn't seem to matter how much I study the art of blurb writing, take a class, watch a tutorial. I can't even do it if I have the roadmap on how to write effective blurbs sitting right beside of me. The block that I have with these never goes away. So because I can't teach you how to do it, I am going to put some links up to people like Brian Cohen, Mark Dawson, folks like that, where you can go and check out their companies, take some of their classes, their tutorials, and then you can record your own YouTube video teaching people how to write good cover copy. My intention today is just to let you know that if you are struggling with this, you are not alone. The talent for being able to write these short descriptions that are tantalizing enough to draw in readers, that is something that is hard to come by. As writers, the lack of being able to condense our words into these shorter descriptions is a recurring theme. Very few of us have a ready-made elevator pitch. And honestly, most of the time when somebody asks us what our books are about, we freeze at sort of deer in headlights. And in part, I think that that has a lot to do with time. So writing the book is the easiest part of your publishing journey. Much of everything else is exhausting, and it's because we would rather be writing, and everything else just feels very taxing. It's very challenging. And that starts with these book descriptions, because as soon as you have your book finished, well, then you have to be able to tell people what it's about, right? Because the whole point, if you are going to publish, is to sell books, and your purpose in selling books can be different. But at the end of the day, you're not publishing a book unless you are wanting people to pick it up and read it. So it all starts with the cover copy, the blurbs. And when you're talking about cover copy that is going to go in a physical paperback, that's a much larger deal, because it's harder to change these. You're probably going to have to go back to your cover designer and have them redo the cover for you. So you could have a fee there. Sometimes a retail site for you to be able to change that cover entirely for the paperback is going to be expensive. And then also, anytime you make cover changes, you want to get a proof copy, and you pay for those, right? So it is a larger deal to make sure that your cover copy is something that you are happy with, which is why you need editors like mine, because I send them rubbish and they send me back something that's usable. Now, again, because I am not talented at writing short descriptions that have any sort of appeal to a reader whatsoever, I use my cover copy on all retail sites, even for the ebooks. So if you happen to have a physical copy of my book, and you by chance go into a retail site and you see that the description is different than what's on the back of your cover, that is simply because I had no other choice. Because part of what is so time consuming with these book descriptions is when you go to upload your books to the different retail sites, that blurb description that you're putting there oftentimes has different length requirements. Some of them want something fairly short. Others will allow you to have something longer. A few of them want you to have two different formats, a shorter and a longer. And occasionally you'll get hit with them just wanting one line. It really depends on how that retailer is set up and how they advertise books. And they need you to put in the information so that everything looks correct on their end. But on our side of things, for somebody like me, this is difficult. Now, there are some really smart authors out there, overachievers, doing their homework. They know that sometimes on certain retailers, a short and punchy blurb sells better. Or that when books are written in first person, as mine are, that your blurb should also be in first person. Something that literally never occurred to me until I heard it on a podcast recently. So now I have to go back and rewrite all my things sometime down the road. Well, I'm not trying to overachieve. There is a difference in what sells a book better when it comes simply to a paperback reader versus an ebook reader. So meaning different descriptions will draw in somebody that wants to buy a paperback versus somebody that wants an ebook. So I'm definitely not recommending that you do as I do, because if you have or you want to invest the time in this whole blurby cover copy situation, you can study the market and actually cater your book descriptions for what works best on each individual retailer. Something that in part is driven by the age of the readers who tend to shop at one location or another. There even seems to be a variation between subscription models and sales, and on and on and on it goes. But Lord help me, I despise writing book descriptions. So while I find all of this data fascinating, I will not be contributing any of my own anytime soon. But as I said, there are many resources out there on how to write effective cover copy. Since I am not your source for that, I will throw some links up in the description box of this video. I also have been thinking about, I might start putting up some of my blurb efforts on Patreon. I'm super nervous to put out anything, especially when it hasn't been filtered through my editors, because I live in the sort of haze of incoherency. And I don't even realize it until I do something like, record a YouTube video. Much like I don't hear how short I fall with the points that I'm trying to make on these videos, when I write the cover copies, I can't hear how those words sound to the reader. When it comes to the book itself, I don't have this problem. I usually tend to go through and do what I call a clean read, which is where I'm going through as a reader, and I just am checking for any place that the plot or the dialogue will fail for me as a reader, and then I can go back into writer mode and fix those things. But the blurb isn't a story. It's this short, quippy thing that I am convinced that you must be fast thinking on your feet, quick-witted person to write properly. And you know this because when you go and you watch all these videos and these tutorials with all of these experts, they all possess charismatic qualities. So therefore, I conclude that unless you're charismatic, you have no hope of writing a good blurb. You heard it here first, but this is how rumors get started. But my disclaimer is never believe anything I say, and certainly do not repeat it. So if you are struggling, know that I am right here with you. And at least it's really, really easy to change those online book descriptions. And again, even when you're shopping for paperbacks, that is how people are typically finding them these days. So there is hope for us. We are eventually going to turn into beautiful blurb writing butterflies. Until then, I am just going to let my negative Nelly run amok. I'm getting ready to play for you a clip of the music for the Immortal Monsters podcast. It is launching worldwide on all podcast players January 1st, 2023. So mark your calendars now. You can also go on over to my Patreon and sign up for bonus episodes and early access to the main podcast episodes. All of my ebooks and audiobooks are already there for you. So if you join the Patreon at the $5 tier, you'll have access to all of those. And if you join the $10 tier, you will also get each new release paperback. This is for US and Canada only. Right now, I'm putting out 3 paperbacks a year. And yes, I will set you up with series starters. So if I have a new release coming like October 31st, I have the second book in this Hint and Thriller series. This is a true series, so you must read these books in order. So if you join now, I will go ahead and send out the first book, Descend, and you are going to get this, and it will be this special black cover that you can only get when you purchase directly from me. And then October 31st, when Smother, the second book in the Thriller series, comes out, you will automatically get that one shipped to you. And then you'll get another in March. And so my schedule right now is March 1st, September 1st, October 31st. And usually every October 31st, I'm going to start a new thriller series. leedawnabooks.com for Patreon, Shopify, and everything else. And if you have any questions or strange stories, you can email them to me at leedawnabooks@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, click, shout from a mountain, follow me online, not in real life, and I will see you in the next video. I can't keep a thought straight in my head.